Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This Saturday is UFC Vegas 64, and in the main event, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos, and this is going to be my full breakdown and prediction. And I know a lot of people are going to shit on this fight and say this is a terrible main event. And while I'm not particularly happy with this main event, I don't think it's the worst main event ever. I'm super disappointed because the original main event of this card was Bryce Mitchell versus Movsar Evloev. Evloev had to pull out of the fight for whatever reason. They looked for a replacement. Unfortunately, Ilia Topuria couldn't make weight on time for November 5th, so they did Bryce Mitchell versus Ilia Topuria, and they moved it to UFC 282 in December. And then they elevated the co-main event, which was Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos, to the main event spot, and now that's what we're getting. I'm a little bit disappointed just because of the original main event. But this isn't a terrible fight. I mean, both these girls have fan-friendly styles. Marina Rodriguez in particular is in title discussion within the division. I mean, a win here and Marina Rodriguez could be fighting for the title in her next fight. There are some people claiming that Rodriguez deserved a title shot over Weili Zhang. So she's in a very good position. She's on a good win streak. For Amanda Lemos, she's only on a one-fight win streak, but she's only lost to the best of the best in the division. And if she can string a couple wins together, she'll be right back in title contention as well. And a win over Marina Rodriguez, who's ranked very high in the women's strawweight division, would be an amazing win for her and put her right back on track and maybe a fight or two away from a potential title shot. If she beats Marina Rodriguez and then wins another one or two fights, I think she'll be right in that discussion, especially considering how high people are on Marina Rodriguez. And for both these girls, this is a very important fight because they are both getting up there in age. They are both 35 years old. So it's really now or never if they want to move towards eventually becoming a champion. It's easy to be, in your mid-30s, late 30s, when you're up in the light heavyweight and heavyweight division, obviously the men's division. But when you're down at these lower weight classes, especially women's, strawweight, where speed is massive, it's hard to be able to have career longevity at an older age, So it's now or never for both these girls. High level fight. Both are ranked in the top 10. Marina Rodriguez, there's a title shot on the line here, and it's a very fan-friendly matchup. So moving on to the tail of the tape, Marina Rodriguez is 16-1-2. Amanda Lemos is 12-2-1. Rodriguez is ranked number 3. Lemos is ranked number 7. They are both 35 years old. Rodriguez is 5'6". Lemos is 5'4", and they both have a 65-inch reach. So in the words of Mike Goldberg, outside of the 2-inch height advantage for Marina Rodriguez, in the words of Mike Goldberg, everything is virtually identical. So if you look at Amanda Lemos, she has 12 pro MMA wins, 7 by knockout, 3 by submission, and 2 by decision. She comes into this fight on a 1-fight win streak, but she's won 6 out of her last 7. Her last fight was against Michelle Waterson, July of this year. And in this fight, the first round was very uneventful. Second round, Michelle Waterson shoots in on a takedown. Lemos defends, kind of creates a scramble. Michelle Waterson continues to kind of move forward and look for the takedown. She gets wrapped up in a guillotine. Lemos drops to the ground. Waterson taps out. The ref doesn't even see it, but then she says, I tapped. And you could clearly see it on video that she tapped. Tight guillotine win from Lemos. But what does the win over Michelle Waterson really mean? Honestly, I know she's not a complete bum, but people elevated her way too high. I really have not been very high on Michelle Waterson ever. She's been primarily a kicker and doesn't have the greatest of hands, doesn't have the greatest of grappling, but a solid finish win for Lemos. The fight before that, she lost to Jessica Andrade. And while this was a one-round fight, and Jessica Andrade finished her via submission in the first round, I was much higher on this performance from Lemos than I was in the win she had over Michelle Waterson. Because people forget, they think of that crazy arm triangle submission, standing arm triangle submission from Jessica Andrade, but they forget the fight before that. And Lemos, it wasn't like a blowout, but Lemos was winning the fight before that submission and, outstriking Jessica Andrade, who is considered the elite of the elite in the division and a former strawweight champion. She was landing some good punches. Andrade really wasn't able to find her. And Lemos was also landing good heavy leg kicks in this fight as well. But towards the end of the first round, or like halfway through the first round, they both threw punches. They both basically landed. And Andrade threw I think it was a left hook. And off the left hook, she just followed it to wrap up an arm triangle and was able to finish while standing, which is crazy. You very rarely see that submission. But what does it really mean? I mean, Lemos got caught out of position, but she looked very good up until that point. So I think Lemos is actually underrated for the women's strawweight division. Before that, a split decision win over Angela Hill. Who's not beating Angela Hill by split decision? But honestly, at this point, even being competitive with Angela Hill, for me, is kind of like, where's your skill set at? Because I'm not very high on Angela Hill. And the rest of her UFC resume just leaves a lot to be desired. She has a couple TKOs. She's not putting these girls out cold. And again, this is not the greatest of competition. And she has a loss to Leslie Smith back in 2017. But this was when Lemos was fighting at bantamweight, 135 pounds. She's now fighting at 115 pounds. So I don't know how much you can really take away from that, other than the fact she used to fight at a much higher weight class. You look at Marina Rodriguez, of her 16 pro MMA wins, 6 by knockout, 1 by submission, 9 by decision. She comes in this fight on a 4-fight win streak. Her last fight was against Yan Xiaonan, UFC 272, March of this year. This was a very close competitive fight. This was a fight where Xiaonan clearly won the first round, Rodriguez clearly won the third round, but the second round was a toss-up. And Marina Rodriguez got the nod. I thought it was very close. I thought it was debatable. I think a lot of people thought it went to Yan Xiaonan, but honestly, this fight could have went either way. This was one of those fights where it was like, it really could have went either way. And what this showed me was Marina Rodriguez and her cardio is what really won her this fight, because Xiaonan looked very good and fast early, but as she started to slow down, Marina Rodriguez just started to look better and better. In that third round, she won that third round. It was pretty clear. And that's kind of what won her the fight, because the second round was a toss-up. The fight before that was against Mackenzie Dern. I actually picked against her in this fight. I thought Dern would be able to get her down and submit her. Dern was able to get her down, but not able to submit her. So Marina Rodriguez has shown excellent submission defense and jiu-jitsu against Mackenzie Dern. Fight before that, she beat Michelle Waterson, even back in May of last year. Still doesn't mean all that much. Fight before that, she beat Amanda Lemos by TKO. This was a solid win in the second round. Brutalized her on the feet. Herb Dean kind of came in and stopped the fight, but then said, no, keep fighting. And then Marina Rodriguez went out there and basically TKO'd her a second time. Solid win over Amanda Rodriguez. And her only loss in her pro MMA career is to Carla Esparza via split decision. And the grappling is what won Carla Esparza this fight, but this was a close fight. And where's Carla Esparza nowadays? She is the strawweight champion. So Marina Rodriguez here with a win. And Carla Esparza, if she's still the champion, which she may or may not be, she could get a rematch against Carla Esparza, be able to avenge that loss. But that's not a horrible loss to have on your resume against Carla Esparza, who is the strawweight champion. And then after that, she responds by reeling off 4 straight wins. There's 3 of them by decision in her 4-fight win streak, but 1 by stoppage over Amanda Lemos, which looked very good. When I look at this fight, I see a very competitive fight. I feel like a lot of people are going to be picking Marina Rodriguez in this fight. I think a lot of people are going to favor her. But I do think Amanda Lemos can win this fight. I think Amanda Lemos has decent power. I could see her winning via TKO. I don't think that's super likely. She's shown she can lightning fast snatch up submissions, which we saw in the Michelle Waterson fight. And I just think overall Lemos is underrated. But Marina Rodriguez is very good as well. Very good striking, very good jiu-jitsu. She defended on the ground against Mackenzie Dern. She's shown decent power as well, especially in the Lemos fight. So this is a very competitive fight. I think either girl can win this fight. But for my official prediction, I am going to go with Marina Rodriguez via... I'm thinking late round stoppage. I haven't officially decided, but I'm going to go Marina Rodriguez via decision. I think that Marina Rodriguez could get a 4th or 5th round TKO. Lemos has never gone 5 rounds. The only 5-round fight she ever had only lasted 1 round. She has gone 3 rounds before, and her cardio has looked all right. But we know Marina Rodriguez can go 5 rounds. She went 5 rounds against Mackenzie Dern with a lot of grappling. She went 5 rounds versus Michelle Waterson. Looked good and went a hard 3 rounds against Yan Xiaonan. And in the 3rd round, she really took over and her cardio looked good. So I could see Marina Rodriguez getting the stoppage in the 4th or 5th as Lemos starts to slow down a bit. But I think it's going to go to decision. I don't really see her knocking out Lemos. Her only loss by TKO is at bantamweight. So I think this fight's going to go to decision. I think this is going to be a primarily striking fight. And I think what's going to win this fight for Marina Rodriguez, I think, is going to be the volume, because I think she throws much more volume than Lemos. I think Lemos is going to be chopping that lead leg of Marina Rodriguez. But I think Marina Rodriguez is just a little bit more technical, a little bit more volume, while Lemos never really throws, 3 or 4 punch combinations. She throws like a 1 or 2 punch combination every time. She throws it with, a heavy power punch, so they're not super accurate. And I think Marina Rodriguez is just going to, pump in the jab, landing the straight right, landing some hooks, maybe clinching up occasionally and landing some knees in the clinch, because she has very good knees in the clinch. And Rodriguez is underrated in the clinch. But I just think she's just a little bit more technical. She's going to throw a little bit more volume, and I think on the judges' scorecard, she's going to get it done. I could see Lemos having like a good first and second round. I think she's going to have a slight speed advantage, like we've seen with Yan Xiaonan in the Marina Rodriguez fight. She clearly had a speed advantage. I think maybe the first and second round, she could maybe get a close round nod for her. But I think as the fight goes on, I think Rodriguez is just going to take over. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Lemos gets the first round, and then you see Marina Rodriguez just outstrike her for the second, third, fourth, and fifth round, and eventually win by decision, and a pretty clear-cut decision. I don't think it's going to be, it's controversial, could have went either way. I think Marina Rodriguez gets it done, but I do think Lemos could get this win. I think Lemos, there's a chance she could get it. She has some good power. She could rock Marina Rodriguez. Maybe she's going to conserve her energy early because she doesn't throw a lot of combinations. She's going to chop the legs, limit the mobility. But I think Rodriguez is just too good. I think she's a level above Amanda Lemos, and I think the striking ability of her plus the cardio is going to serve her well in those later rounds, which I'm really counting on for her to win the fight. I think she's definitely going to win that third, fourth, and fifth round. So I think if Lemos wants to win this fight, she's going to have to get Marina Rodriguez out of there. And Marina Rodriguez has never been finished. So I just don't think that's super likely. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Comment down your prediction. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video, and I will see you in the next video.